So here are the three things we tell them make news different than everything else. And if you can find these three things, you're in the news neighborhood. And if you can't find these three things, you are in another neighborhood, which is fine. You want to be entertained and diverted? That's great. If you want to be informed and you don't find these three things, you're lost. Make sure you know where you are. So this is an important part, again, of what we're doing. What is a journalist? Same kind of issue. Who's a journalist? What makes a journalist? And we have lots of discussions, and we look at various people. Jon Stewart is our poster person, as you imagine. So we have a big discussion. Let's take a look.
Jason, Obama's speech today.
John, the speech was incredible. Typical Obama, inspiring rhetoric.
We will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense.
There you go. Pride of country, straight from the tap. All right? A real self-esteem booster.
But if I may, we will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, John, the cowboy days are over, okay? God, when I even hear that, it just makes me want to take off my shoe and just jam it down your...
Right, but those aren't Bush's words. That was me reading the Obama quote you just played for me. I just did it in Bush's voice. It's the same rhetoric.
You're the same rhetoric.
But watch this.
Freedom is the universal gift of Almighty God.
The God-given promise that all are equal, all are free.
We will work with our friends and allies across the world to defend our way of life.
We will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense.
We can usher in a new era of enhanced prosperity and peace.
America must play its role in ushering in a new era of peace.
Did our generation advance the cause of freedom?
We carried forth that great gift of freedom and delivered it safely to future generations.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know. What am I supposed to do? It's all I know.
It's Hope Day 1.
I know. I don't like it either.
I know.
I don't like doing this either.
Look, it's like, why is cheese delicious on Italian food, but when you melt it on Chinese food, it's disgusting? I don't know. I guess, honestly, John, I guess when Obama says this stuff, I don't think he really means it. And that gives me hope.
So we play this clip, and we play some other clips. And you know, there's reports that say 25 to 30% of the students, college students in America, use Stewart as their primary source of news. Okay, click on question 3. We ask students this question. We want you to answer this question. Jon Stewart, core question. Is he primarily a comedian / entertainer, or is he primarily a journalist / news commentator, or you are not sure? Answer the question. Hit the letter and send. Don't have to, no. Okay, so majority of people think that he is an entertainer and a comedian. Lots of debates in class. It's a perfect window for us to talk about what is the function of a journalist, what's their primary function, etc. So we try to use a lot of examples to do that. John, you want to just move on to the next question? Okay, the power of information. In this first phase of the course, in addition to laying the groundwork for this neighborhood idea and what makes a journalist, we need to talk about the power of information, its power around the world, the battle for information. So about a bunch of you got white sheets of paper when you came into the room. Who has a white sheet of paper? Can you stand? Anybody with a white sheet of paper, please stand. Okay. So one of the things we do is we send the students to the Committee to Protect Journalists website, and they are stunned, absolutely stunned at what's going on around the world. Here's the Pulitzer Prize-winning photograph of the photographer in Myanmar who is being murdered even as he's trying to take a photo. And then we give out pieces of paper like this, and we have students stand, and we say, you see these people here? These are the number of journalists who have been killed and murdered in the last year. And every group stands. And everybody gets quiet in this class because now they can visualize the number of people who have been murdered in the last year around the world who have been journalists. You can sit. Thank you very much. So we talked to them about that. We talked to them, as you would imagine, about this watchdog role that the American press has. And most students don't understand this. They don't come here with that knowledge. And we show them stories about Abu Ghraib, and we show them stories about Walter Reed. We talk about why the press is protected in the Constitution, etc., etc. It's a foundation kind of thing. But we want to keep this course interactive. We want the students to engage in it. We do not want it to be passive. So what we do is we put the New York Times on trial. It's a mock trial, as Marcy reminds me. What we do is Operation Swift, the New York Times story about the financial transactions in Europe, exposing those in our attempt to catch terrorists, the absolute outrage by some people that this is treason and that the reporters should go to jail. We put the reporters on trial in each of our recitation sections. We have prosecutors, we have defense attorneys, we have defendants, and they put these people to trial and discuss whether the New York Times did the right thing or the wrong thing in publishing this story and whether it jeopardized national security. And then they vote as a jury. And it's very split, by the way, in a lot of the classes. But we want them to engage with these issues. We want them to understand what's news. What makes some things news? Why do things appear on television? How do editors work? This is Mika Brzezinski and her famous flame out when she refused to read a story about Paris Hilton. I don't know if you saw this last year, and she set the script on fire. And we talk about news values and what makes news. And again, we want the students to understand this. So in their small groups, we break them into news meetings. We give them 12 stories. We tell them you're running a campus newspaper and you're selling this campus newspaper. It's the Stony Brook world. And you have these 12 stories going on campus, lots of great stories, and you've got to make a decision based on your news values and your audience, what's going to be the lead story, and you have room for 3 more boxes, and you can't get the other stories on page 1. Make a decision. And they break into groups, and they get really intense about it, and they come up with a front page. Same class now. We have these small groups of about 30 students. Once a week we teach this as a lecture, 200 students or so, and then we break into groups. Here's one group that picks the death of 2 students on campus in a drunk driving accident on a dark road. That's their lead story. And they have these other stories underneath it. Same class, group picks sex scandal. And they get up and say, we needed to get the word sex on the cover. Which was interesting because these are the same students who often criticize the news media for pandering to its audience. So it gets them to engage with this subject matter and feel what it's like to have to make decisions.